Hi everyone. So the new GPT-5 model just dropped. So excited to dig in. I'm just at the first stage of experiments with this model, but I wanted to figure out what does this mean for recruiters? Can we actually use this model more effectively now compared to the old models? And how does it actually fit into the kind of biggest part of the benefit that I see for AI in recruiting, which is resume screening at scale. So I wanted to jump in and revisit one of the old videos that I did a while back and just show what this could potentially do for us. So I mocked up this very simple dashboard. What we're going to do is walk through what a process may look like and see what recommendations the GPT-5 model is giving compared to the old 3.5 Turbo model. On the back end, this is a very simple app. All I'm doing is taking a resume, taking a job description, sending both of those to an API call with OpenAI, and I'm doing 3 calls, one for each of the models, and just returning what they say into this dashboard. I think a lot of the big ATS providers will probably include something like this at some point in the future. If they don't, I'm happy to build it and sell it, but I think there's going to be a lot of availability. And I just want to demonstrate how powerful this new model is going to be for people within the space. Okay, so let's jump straight in. What I'm going to do first is upload my resume. This is a resume that I downloaded from LinkedIn, or it could have been one of my old resumes. Really just to give a demonstration, I'm going to use myself as the guinea pig here. We're going to go into a product management role that I kind of picked out. So all I'm going to do here, as I always do, just copy and paste the job description, drop it into here. And so all we have is a resume, the job description. And what we're going to ask the GPT model to do is compare the resume to the job description and make a recommendation about whether we should hire that person. I'm going to run the AI screening. While that's running, you can see kind of a couple of ideas that I had for why we might want to use AI for resume screening. Actually, right now, there's some legal cases going through the courts that talk about how you may potentially get into trouble if you don't disclose the way that you're using AI to help screen people out. There's definitely a lot of opportunity for bias. And so here we are. So that took a couple of seconds. And it was 3 model calls. Obviously, the GPT 3.5 Turbo call is going to be the fastest and the cheapest in the long run. But I think as you start to kind of evaluate the different capabilities, maybe some of these prove to be better than others. And so let's just take it at a very high level, the 3 models, how they compared the same resume and the same job description. So 3.5 Turbo scores my resume 8 as a match. So maybe that's giving a positive recommendation. And if you look at the blue text in the bottom, highly recommend for an interview to assess transferable skills. I think that's what we've all seen with some of the older GPT models. They're generally very positive. They're not necessarily going into a lot of depth or doing a lot of analysis. And so maybe this is kind of first pass filter that a junior recruiter or an intern might want to make. And they don't want to cut anyone out that's not going to be a good fit. But the downside there is that you're actually going to potentially get a lot of recommendations for people who probably not going to be a great fit. Just to be clear, I don't think I'm a good fit for this role. And I wanted to see what GPT-5 thinks about my experience. Let's go to GPT-4o now. So scores me a 7. So maybe more of a warning flag. The recommendation, consider interviewing to explore how they might apply leadership in this new role. If you look through my background, I don't have direct product management experience. I don't have anything in AGI related search products. Mostly focus on recruiting operations, more so than product management. I think it's a very fair evaluation. But I think this makes kind of a good assessment of my background, my experience, and how that may be related to a role like this. The idea here is this is the kind of recommendation we're going to make to a hiring manager as to whether they're going to actually interview this candidate. So we're not making hiring decisions. It's really just do we move this person through the funnel. Now, GPT-5, the latest model dropped today, score 6. So this is the harshest critique of my background. And it does make, I think, a fair summary. I'm an operator founder. I've got an MBA. I've got an engineering degree. But if you go through all the gaps, it's picking out a lot more gaps. It's being a lot more critical. And it is still recommending to proceed with an exploratory screen, but really not a primary fit for ChatGPT search without strong transferable evidence. So already this is saying, hey, this guy doesn't really have search experience. So let's make sure that if we do an exploratory interview, we test and see if there are any transferable skills that might be helpful. But actually, when you go through all these gaps, you can see, even looking at the location, not currently San Francisco based. So, all of these gaps here didn't really mention anything about location, policy and legal. So there's so many more things that GPT-5 is picking up, and it's really doing a lot more analysis as to is this person actually going to be a good fit, and hopefully saving a lot of time as you move through the funnel. I think the main takeaway for me here is GPT-5 is a real step change in ability to automate some of the core recruiting tasks. Resume review is one of those tasks that just takes a very long time to do. And as long as you're able to filter the top of your funnel effectively, you can spend a lot more time interviewing more people. Instead of spending 10 hours doing resume screens, you can spend 10 minutes doing resume screens. And then the other 10 hours interviewing a few more people. Maybe you have the same results on the end, but you're going to have a more high quality assessment of that person. And hopefully that leads to an improved quality of hire. So overall, I'm very excited by this new model. I think the first results are promising. I'm excited to dig in a little bit more and do some more experiments. I would love to hear what you say, please, in the comments below. Obviously, I'm going to share this on LinkedIn as well. So please engage with me there and hope to see you soon. Thank you.